Mayor, we've got a great town here in Mesquite. It's a nice, tidy town for the most part. Is public art just a frill for us, or is it something that could be a way for Mesquite to take another step forward in its development as a city?
The simple answer? Yes.
Okay.
It's not a frill. You know, years ago, we had a number of older buildings, older homes, some very historic buildings that were knocked over just to knock them down and make room for what was ever going to be new. And thank heavens we kind of slowed that whole process down a little bit, and we do have some older buildings that still remain. I'm a big fan of history, and I enjoy the arts. One thing that I would like to see personally is we have some old neon signs that sit on Mesquite Boulevard. We need to renovate those, bring them back. I know there was a code set years ago when we did our sign ordinance that made it illegal for neon other than at a casino. But you know what? That's part of our history. That's part of the heritage of Mesquite. These little hotels that were the stop. These people came, they stopped, they stayed, moved on down the road. There's a number of wonderful opportunities we have to tie that past with the present. And not a day or a week goes by that I don't see people taking pictures of themselves underneath the sign across the street from where I work, the old motel there. And I think it would be something that we need to really take a look at, to definitely find a way to beautify some of those signs, bring them back to what they were. That's art to me. It might not be art to somebody else, but it's art to me. And last long road trip I was on, drove from here to St. Paul, Minnesota. Stopped in Omaha. I don't know how many people have been in Omaha, but you go to the downtown area, or where I was staying, right by the river, they've taken buildings, literally gigantic 10, 15-story buildings, and painted murals on them. It's absolutely beautiful. And they've tied it all together. That's something that I look forward to, something that's going to tie us all together, make that statement that this is Mesquite. And, you know, I saw some of the pictures, some of the areas where they have wonderful statues and things like that, but what is it that makes Mesquite Mesquite? We can ask anybody in this room, and we're going to get a whole bunch of different answers. So we do have a bit of a challenge there, but you know, I think it's time that we define that. And I think we find a way to tie all of that together, to give that image. And you know, we talk about where's the downtown, what does this mean, what is that? Art is probably one of the best ways we can convey what Mesquite is. And this is a wonderful building. And it's a great opportunity, and I know the foot traffic in here is increasing, and we're seeing some great things just from having this type of program in this building here. And hopefully we can tie some more things that way. But is art something that is important to a community? You bet it is. You bet it is. It can set the mood. I mean, you can be in the downtown area. You take downtown St. George, where they have all of their statues and their splash pads. And it's become a gathering place from years ago when it wasn't much of anything other than just some old beat-up old buildings that no one would go into. They've changed that. They have a draw that brings them into the downtown area there, and they've created art, and it adds to that community feel. And I think that's what we need to look forward to try and accomplish.
You're lucky to have a mayor who thinks like Mark Weir.
You've worked for the city, you've been a private citizen here for a long time, and I know you've seen a lot of efforts to try to do a downtown project, renovation, whatever. Why don't we get any traction on that? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I think we're trying to create something that never existed in this location. Even though towns like Panaca have a very defined downtown, Mesquite never seemed to have one. A store here, a store there, a store here, a store there. I think over the last few years, there's been a pretty good effort, and things are starting to come together, and they don't come together overnight. A lot of the public art effort the Abbott statue, the mural on the Golden West, and things like that are all city sponsored or participated in to try and bring that cohesiveness. But I think that's what we're starting with, is to actually define the downtown that really never existed, and we're trying to build it.
Vicki, you've seen efforts like this other places, I'm sure, because you've lived in the Las Vegas area and elsewhere. Any thoughts about getting that traction that we might need to make a better effort toward what Mark has been saying is a good goal for our city?
Well, I can speak to the last town I lived in, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and their city came together and some people organized a downtown association, and they made a decision on what was the theme that they were going to establish for that area. And it's not a real definite theme. It's just a real, it's just artistic. When you're downtown Coeur d'Alene, there's art galleries, and there is a lot of respect for the arts. Another thing that the city adapted was they have a program where they have people that can come in and put in public art in specific areas in the city, and their sculptures or their modern art or all kinds of different things. And they have them contracted for 1 year, that they can have their art in that spot for 1 year. And it is for sale, but it cannot be removed until that 1 year. So after that year is up, they come in and they remove their art, and there's always people waiting in line to put in more art. So it just kind of has this rotating effect, and it also is great for the artist who gets their work out there.
It sounds like you're saying that it's sort of a joint effort between the town and the artists, and so it's a public-private effort.
It is.
And